Shoes are one of the most profitable things to sell, but you don't have to be tied down to just luxury brands. And in this video, I'm going to unveil 10 different Payless Shoe Source brands to be on the lookout for. Welcome to the channel. My name is Lee Meyer and I'm a stay-at-home mom of 4. I've made well over $100,000 flipping used clothes and other items on sites like eBay, Poshmark, and Mercari. And now I'm on a mission to help at least 1,000 resellers be able to hit that $100,000 mark for themselves. To help you out, I've got a ton of free gifts for you. You'll find them down here in the description below this video. This includes things like my best brands list, the list of 150 brands that has led me to that $100,000 mark and beyond. You'll also find a link to sign up for my free $100,000 reseller challenge. In this free challenge, I show you exactly how to hit $100,000 for yourself this year. It's not about hustling harder. I show you how to get there in very minimal time, very part-time hours. In that free challenge, you're also going to discover the very best things to be selling right now in today's market, and the answer might surprise you. All right, so let's go ahead and get started with today's topic, which is affordable shoe brands from the store Payless Shoe Source that are now selling for quite a bit of money. I'm going to be going through 10 different brands to be on the lookout for, and we're going to be diving into sold items on both eBay as well as Poshmark. This doesn't mean that you can only sell them just on those platforms. Those are just the ones that we're going to be looking at, but they will likely sell well on other platforms as well. So let's go ahead and get started. Now, the first brand that we're going to look at is Airwalk, and this was sold several different places. It started out as a skate shoe company and was sold at skate stores. In 1986 is when the company started, and then in the early 2000s is when the company who owned Payless Shoe Source bought them out and started selling Airwalk in Payless Shoe Source. And at that point, it kind of lost its credibility. The brand lost its credibility with the skate community. They also started selling other styles of shoes. And after the Payless Shoe Source company closed, the Airwalk brand still continues to be out there, just not usually selling for as much. But those items from the early 2000s, when it was sold at Payless Shoe Source, do have a lot of nostalgia attached to them and can sell for a fair amount. So we're going to start out on Poshmark, and this is a pair of vinyl shoes. Those sold for $85. So I'm going to go ahead and zoom in on the symbol right there. That is the fastest way to be able to identify this brand with brands I'm going to be showing you. I'm going to do my best to show you what those labels look like on the shoes, although some of them are a little bit hard to see, especially when it comes to boots. So this is a pair of lace-up sneakers, knee-high, and there on the back is where it says Airwalk, and then those sold for $68. So there's those there, and then there's a pair of Mary Janes, and these sold for $62. And there is what the inside looks like. So when I mentioned that they kind of left that skater shoe style, this is one of the other styles that they made for Payless Shoe Source. This is another style of shoe that is very common to sell from this brand, and this pair sold for $60. And then this is a pair of slide sandals, and these sold for $49. So you can see Airwalk there in the heel, as well as the symbol there on the side. And this is an interesting pair of women's shoes that are slip-ons, and then those sold for $100. Now, over on eBay, with most of these brands that we're going to be looking at, they're substantially less selling on eBay, but this doesn't have to do with just less volume being sold on eBay or less demand. It actually has to do with the fact that eBay only really keeps 3 months worth of sold items to be able to look at. You can find more. You can actually find 3 years worth in their product research tool. But as far as filtering down to sold items, which is what I'm doing to be able to show you these, it only goes back 3 months. Poshmark goes back further distance. So it's not quite a fair comparison between the numbers sold So there are less that I'll be showing on eBay just because of that fact. So this is a pair of shoes that definitely fits with that skater style. That's what those look like. And then those sold for $62. We're over here on eBay now, and you will see that it is sold across the picture of the item, as well as you're going to notice where it says best or best offer on most of these, but they did sell for the full asking price. When a best offer is accepted on eBay, this will show as a strike through, as well as there will be additional words underneath the price that says best offer accepted. This is another pair of those knee-high sneakers, and there's the markings on those. Those went for $60. And there's another similar pair of those slide sandals. Those sold for $50. And then here's another pair of these lace-up shoes, and those went for $35. The next brand that we're going to be looking at is what is called Comfort Plus. Here's what these shoes look like. They're a Mary Jane, and then those sold for $29. Here's another pair. Here's a marking on the inside where it says CP, and these are just a pair of pumps. Those sold for $28. And then another pair here, you can kind of make out on the inside of these where it says Comfort Plus, and it's by predictions, which we'll talk about here in a second, but these that we're specifically looking at are Comfort Plus. This one went with one bid on it for $25 plus shipping. Now over on Poshmark, this is a pair of sandals that went for $40. And you can see that marking in there again, in case you missed it on that last one. Comfort Plus by predictions is what that will say on the inside. And there's what those look like. They're a little bit of a wedge sandal. Now with these, this was a set that somebody put together of 4 different pairs of Comfort Plus pumps, and then they bundled them together and sold them as a set for $50. However, individually, they may have sold for more. This is a pair of boots, and this one sold for $50. We'll look at some more of those pumps here in a second. This is actually one here that sold for $44, and here's what this looks like. This is a pair of mules from Comfort Plus, and then this one sold for $44. Here's another pair of pumps. This one went for $60. Now, I do want to point out that this is new with tags. Almost everything that I'm going to be showing in this video is in pre-owned condition because of the nature of the store Payless Shoe Source and it going out of business, closing. There are definitely a lot more new items that are out there that are still in the box that you may come across. Now, I do have a brand new poster that covers specifically the keywords to use when it comes to shoes. It's going to go over all of the styles of shoes, everything you need to know to get your items in front of the right buyers. I'm going to link to that resource over here, but it can make it super simple to get your listings up in a matter of seconds. Write those titles and write them so that the right buyers come across your items. This next brand that we're going to look at is what is called Smart Fit. Now, this one did make a lot of items for kids, so I've tried to zoom in on this as much as possible. Right there is Smart Fit, but these are actually strawberry shortcake, and the Payless Shoe brand company, Payless Shoe Source company, did sell licensed products from various different TV shows. So this is strawberry shortcake, but you're going to find maybe items from Toy Story or Barney. There were various different licensed products they did sell, especially when it came to the kids items. So you can see that these are pretty well worn, and then those went for $33, almost $34. This is a pair of hiking boots, and these sold for $45. So these are waterproof. They do have a little tag on them there, but that's what those look like. That was a sale on Poshmark. Another sale on Poshmark. You can see that Smart Fit a little bit better. Unfortunately, it's upside down. And these are a pair of girls' saddle shoes. Those went for $35. This is a pair of boots, definitely a unique design. That one went for $32. A pair of kids' boots, and remember with the pricing, these are for kids' items. That one went for $31, which is pretty good when it comes to kids' shoes. And then this is a pair of boots from that same brand, Smart Fit. It does have quite a bit of wear there at those tops, and those sold for $30. Now, this is a brand that is called Dex Flex Comfort. I'm going to go ahead and zoom in on that so you can see that a little bit better. But there's quite a few, especially of this style of shoe selling. It almost looks kind of like a tee. This sold for $34, $35 on eBay. Here's a pair of new denim wedge sandals, and then those sold for about $38. A pair of boots from this same brand, Dex Flex. and these sold for $30. Over on Poshmark, this is a set where they bundled three shoes together. So there's a Dex Flex, another Dex Flex, and then another brand that we're going to talk about here in a second, Fioni. And then that set of three sold together for $90. And these are in new condition. As I mentioned, most everything that I'm going to be showing is in pre-owned condition. However, those are new. So this is a set of pre-owned, and this comes with two pair of those kind of teeps style, and those sold for $50 for that set. Here's one alone. This is a black and white, and this one sold for $50. And then here's a pair of pumps. There's what those look like from the side, and then those sold for $46. A pair of boots from the Dex Flex brand, comfort brand, and then that went for $50. Got a pair of wedge sandals here, and then those went for $45. Another pair of those slip-on kind of ballet style shoes, those went for $40. Little wedge, it's kind of a combination between a ballet and a wedge, those went for $40. This next brand that we're going to look at is called Brash. I have another actually better picture of tag here to be able to show you here in a second. These sold for $30 on eBay, and then this one is a little bit better view of what that looks like on the inside. Definitely more edgy with this brand. And these are a pair of stiletto pumps. Those sold for $30 on eBay. And then this interesting one with the feathers, that one sold for $50 on Poshmark. There's that marking there. Now, part of the trick to getting items like these to sell well that are maybe an off brand is to know the right aesthetic-based keywords, the style-based keywords to use to describe your item. And I do have a poster that covers all of those aesthetics, all of those styles, so that you can get your items in front of the right buyers based off of the aesthetics. So I'm going to link to that resource over here. This is from that same brand, Brash. This is a little bit different than most of their shoes. These are more of a sneaker style, and then those sold for $50 on Poshmark. But this is very indicative or more typical of what the brand was after. So this is kind of a diamond studded boot, over the knee boot. This one sold for $50. Pair of riding boots here. These ones are new. There are a few mixed in here that are new, but those sold for $50. Another pair of boots here. These went for $45. Pair of heels, these sold for $45. Another pair of pumps there that went for $45. That's a popular price. And then these glitter ones, and there's that marking on the inside again. Those, whoa, what's going on here? Those sold for $40. The next brand is called Rugged Outback. So with this one, there's going to be a lot of boots. And a lot of their boots were really kind of actually just all of the items that were sold at Payless Shoe Source, a lot of them were kind of knockoffs, trying to look like something else. And with this brand, they were really kind of trying to go after the Timberland look. I'll show you some here in a second. But these, they're just plain black, and they are faux leather. So most of the items that you're going to find when it comes to Payless Shoe Source brands are not going to be real leather. They will be vegan leather, faux leather, whatever it is that you want to call it. And again, those sold for $50. So here's the marking that's on the bottom of the shoe. You can see there it says Rugged Outback. This is another pair of just all black boots. And then those sold for $39 on eBay. Over on Poshmark, here's a pair of fur-lined boots from that same brand. Those went for $55. Another pair of these work-style boots. Those went for $60. Another pair of boots here with some fur top on those. Those went for $50. And here's what I'm talking about with kind of a Timberland look-alike. Smart Fit actually had one that looked just like this that we looked at just a minute ago. But these sold for $50 from that brand. And I remember buying these and wearing these, and I thought they were the coolest thing without having to spend tons of money to buy, a nicer brand. When you're spending your own money as a teenager, you get excited about those little things. So this is a pair from that same brand that sold for $49. Either way, the store would have sales where they'd have $3 items, $5 items, $7 items. So you'd run in there and see, okay, what's $3 today? That's what the prices that some of them were selling for, and then to see the prices that they're selling at now. If you did have that same experience shopping at Payless Shoe Source back in the day, let me know in the comments. So this is a different style from Rugged Outback that's actually a fisherman's sandal. This one sold for $40. There's other brands that we're going to be looking at that sold at Payless Shoe Source that are a similar style as this that are selling well. So it's really about the style with a lot of these items. This next brand from Payless Shoe Source is what is called Fiona. And with this, you're going to see a lot of dress shoes, a lot of pumps. So with this one, this is over on eBay. And this one had 41, or it had 5 bids on it and sold for $41. So I'll always try to point out if it was an auction listing. Otherwise, they are fixed price listings on eBay. So that one did have 5 bids and for $41 for, essentially a kind of no-name brand. This is a pair of boots here from that same brand. Here you can see Fiona, and then those sold for $42. Another pair of booties there, those went for $42. Pair of sandals here, and those went for $35. On Poshmark, they seem to be selling a little bit higher price. So this is another pair here on eBay. Those went for $30. Now, I do want to take a second to invite you to the Empowered Reseller community before we go ahead and look at those items that sold on Poshmark. This is where I'm able to personally give you help. It's where I'm able to answer questions. It's where I'm able to even do things like store reviews, account reviews, listing reviews. It comes with a supportive VIP community as well as a huge course master vault. So I would love to be able to welcome you into our community soon. Over on Poshmark, this is a pair of Fiona pointed dress shoes. These do have some beadwork on them. There's a little bit better picture there of that beadwork. And then those sold for $75. There were several of these selling that are what are a holographic butterfly and flower sandal, and this one sold for $65, but there were several selling for right around that $50 to $60 price point. This is a pair of penny loafer pumps with a kilty detail there on them. Those went for $65. Another pair of those holographic sandals, those went for $55. Another pair of heels here for $50. Oxford pumps there, those sold for $50. Pair of brightly colored. So you're going to see a lot of interesting designs, unique designs with this brand, the Fiona brand. This one went for $45. Pair of satin pumps here with that peep toe, those sold for $45. Sandals here, those sold for $45 as well. Some strappy dress shoes here, those went for $45. And then these are really interesting. These are black and white. They're like an Oxford pump with a peep toe. Stiletto, those sold for $40. A wedge sandal slide, that went for $44. And this pair of boots, this is kind of like a Penny Lane style coat, but in boot format. And these sold for $40. This next brand is what is called Safety Step. I have a better brand tag picture here in a second to be able to show you, but with these, this was all about safety, oil resistant, so you're going to see they're slip resistant, and that sold for $40 on eBay. Here's a little bit better view of what the tag looks like, or the marking looks like on the inside of the shoe. So you'll see Safety Step and then Comfort. And here's what these look like. These are another kind of teats look like. Those sold for $35 on eBay. Over on Poshmark, this is a pair of clogs. These kind of were maybe styled after Dansko. These sold for $89. Another pair of those kind of teak style ballet. Those sold for $49. And then this pair went for $41. There's what that tag looks like, or the marking looks like on the inside of those. You can see there's a little bit of wear to those shoes. Another pair of those kind of ballet flats, those went for $40. These are new without tags. All right, this next brand is American Eagle. Now, most of these are not labeled correctly as far as the brand, so a lot of people are putting American Eagle. I'm assuming not understanding that there's another brand that's called just American Eagle it's called American Eagle, not just, sold at Payless Shoe Source. And they did at one point, I know, have a disclaimer saying not related to American Eagle Outfitters is what it would say somewhere on the tag. But people seem to be a little bit confused, or at least some sellers seem to be a little bit confused. And I can understand the confusion unless you had lived through that time period and knew that there were shoes that are specifically American Eagle not Outfitters. So with these are on Poshmark, and these are a block heel platform. Those sold for $63, and I will show you what the tag looks like so you know the difference between American Eagle Outfitters and American Eagle. This is another chunky pair of boots. Those sold for $60. I have some better pictures here to be able to show you. This is one that's a little bit upside down, but you can see it says American Eagle. There's 3 lines. I'll show you a better picture of this. And then TM for trademark. There's no fitters on this. That's how you really know the difference with these. These sold for $80 for those clogs. And then here's another look at this label here, a little bit different version. So it says American Eagle and then that TM for trademark. And these sold for $80. This is another variation on their tag. Let's see if I can zoom in on that a little bit. And then those sold for $75. Here's another similar style with a heart on the toe. Those went for $60. Another pair of these just black chunky boots that sold for $120. And then this is that tag there. You can see American Eagle, and then there's the tag here in the bottom where those 3 lines are. And this is over on eBay. This is a pair of those chunky boots. Those went for $110. So here's a little bit better view of what that tag looks like with those 3 lines that I'm referring to. But you're seeing on all of these that they do not say Outfitters. It's just American Eagle. And these are a taller pair of boots. Those went for $140. This is a pair of sandals, and let's go ahead and zoom in on that marking there. Those went for $40. And this is a pair of fisherman sandals that are similar to a previous brand that we looked at, I believe, Rugged Outfitters. This one sold for $35 from the American Eagle brand that we're looking at. This is another pair of these heeled shoes, and then those went for $60 on eBay. If you're looking for more vintage items, I do have a complete guide to selling vintage clothes. You get over 150 different brands and styles to be on the lookout for, so I will link to that resource over here. This next brand, some of these items are selling for crazy amounts. And this is a brand that is called Lower East Side. That was one that was sold exclusively at Payless Shoe Source. These are a lug sole on these boots. Those went for $154. And there's lots from this brand that are selling for over that $100 price point. And I love that because you don't have to be tied down to just finding Doc Martens or some kind of bigger name. In a lot of cases, these sell for more. So this is, you'll see here in the title, Doc Martens Inspired. Again, a lot of these items are knockoffs of other things, and they were sold for much cheaper at Payless Shoe Source. So these are a flower cutout. The flower cutout is different than they are on Doc Martens. If you would compare them side by side, you'll notice what some of those differences are, but they're very, very similar. And then those sold for $150. Here's another pair of those lug soled boots. This one has lace-up details on the back, so I'm going to zoom in on that lace-up because that is something that was really big around Y2K, which is when a lot of these items were made, and now they're trending again. So this one sold for $150. Here's a pair of shoes here with that buckle on them. Those went for $110. Got some lace-up sneakers there. Those went for $115. So you have to remember these sold for like $20 in the store. They'd have buy one get one 50% off sale. So I mean, they probably sold for even less than that. They're now selling for over $100. So this is a pair of red boots, and then these sold for $125. Here's another pair of those flower. Here's a little bit better view of that tag there. I think I have some better ones coming up, but that one sold for $100 for those flower cutout sandals. Patchwork boots, and if you come across patchwork boots in really any other brand, those are really hot right now. From this brand, these sold for $100. Here's a little bit different take on that cutout. It's got a little toe strap there. Those went for $100. A pair of mules here, those went for $95. And another shoe here, that went for $95. Here's another kind of Doc Marten lookalike. Those went for $90. Another pair of patchwork style boots. Those sold for $89. Over on eBay, this brand's doing just as well. There's that marking again there inside of the shoe. This is a clog. That one went for $50. And then this is a platform sneaker Those went for $65. There was a little bit different tag on this one. So this one has a white fabric tag that's sewn on both ends, and you can kind of see how it's coming up on the edges there. So that is a little bit different variation on that tag. This is a pair of booties. These went for $120. This is one that was similar to what we saw on Poshmark a little bit ago. You can see that there's quite a bit of scuffing on those toes. Those sold for $64. Here's a pair of loafers. Those went for $35. Lace up detail here on the side of this pair. Those went for $70. Here's a slide sandal. Looks like denim fabric. Those went for $54. Pair of closed-toed sandals, those went for $59. Another sandal here with that toe strap, those sold for $55. Another Doc Martin look-alike with this sandal, there's what those look like, those sold for $45. Pair of lace-up shoes there, those went for $55. Another one of those patchwork boots, and those went for $80. Another pair of mules, and you can see that kind of has a little bit of that patchwork detailing on those. Those sold for $75. And then this black and white brogue, you can see the brogue, the wingtip there, those sold for $55. Another pair of those kind of patchwork style boots, and then those sold for $148. Lace up sneakers, those went for $49. There's a little bit different tag here for you, so you'll see that mark there, but it is on that fabric tag on the inside of the shoe. You can see kind of the dirtiness on the inside of those as well. $50 for that pair. Here's another different kind of patchwork design with that stitching, as well as in kind of a faux suede. You'll see here, you know, man-made material. Almost all of their items are man-made material. That one sold for $70. And then the next brand is what is called Predictions. So this is a pair of boots that has kind of a paisley design to it, and I saw several of these selling. This pair went for $100, but there were quite a few selling for over, you know, $50 to $60, closer to that $100 mark even. This is a pair of clogs with that patchwork design. You're seeing that's a common theme with these, but this is denim. That one sold for $99 on Poshmark. This is a little bit older style. I'm guessing that these are closer towards probably the 80s, maybe early 90s, pointy toe there with those. Those sold for $80. Pair of dress shoes here, those went for $80. Another pair of those patchwork clogs that sold for $60. Pair of loafers here, it looks like tassel loafer, those went for $58. Have a pair of clogs here that went for $57. Pair of slingbacks that sold for $55. Another pair of pumps that sold for $51. I'll see if I can get a little bit better picture of the tag there. There's one for you. So it just says prediction. This one sold for $55. And then this is a set of 4 heeled shoes together. You can see where it says predictions on those. And then that set they compiled together, sold those as a bundle for $40. And then saddle shoes. These are super popular when it comes to this Predictions brand, and there are lots of these selling. So you saw this style already with that Smart Fit brand, but it was also made by Predictions. So there's the marking on the inside. And again, there are tons of these selling. These sold for $50, but that's a pretty common price point when it comes to those style of saddle shoes. Now, if you're brand new to reselling, I do have a Ultimate Reseller Starter Kit. It has everything you need to get launched, been running, and bringing in those first sales. I'm going to link to it over here. And by the way, the Starter Kit Plus does come with all of the support that is included in the Empowered Reseller membership. So make sure you choose that if you need that little bit of extra support, a place to be able to come and get your questions answered, that accountability that you need to be successful. This is another one of those Prediction saddle shoes. This is over on eBay. Those sold for $33. Got a pair of ballet flats here. Those sold for $55. Pair of heeled Mary Janes, those went for $35. Pair of clogs here, they have that flower design on them as well as some patchwork. Those sold for $45. Another pair of clogs here with a kind of woven design, those went for $39. Another one of those paisley boots, and then those sold for $45. And a closed-toed sandal, those sold for $32. I hope you found this video helpful and that it helps you find more awesome things when you're outsourcing that you can turn around and flip for big profits. If you enjoyed this video and found it helpful, go ahead and give it a thumbs up as well as consider subscribing to the channel. Now, if you're looking for more shoes from right around that Y2K era, which a lot of these were, I'm going to go ahead and link up here to another video that you'll be interested in where I go into even more different brands and styles to be aware of. Thanks so much for hanging out with me, and I'll catch you in the next video soon.